Destructive criticism is the emotional cancer that destroys people. So people are criticized by their parents, and then as a result, they believe it. They have no barriers to defend themselves. So they believe, well, if my parents, who are the biggest, most important people in their world, if they say this to me about me, it must be true.
My guest today is someone who doesn't need an introduction, and he's actually joining us with his daughter to talk about success, overcoming your doubts, letting go of your past, and unlocking your potential. Brian Tracy is chairman and CEO of Brian Tracy International, a company specializing in the training and development of individuals and organizations. He has studied, researched, written, and spoken for 30 years in the fields of economics, history, business, philosophy, and psychology, and is a top-selling author of numerous books that have been translated into dozens of languages. We are joined by him and his daughter, Dr. CHRISTINA STEIN, Ph.D., speaker, author, and psychotherapist, who is the co-author of the book, Believe It to Achieve It. I'm your host, Kiana, Danial, a four-time author and the founder of the Invest Diva movement, the march to jump on to take control of your financial future and to make your money work for you. My mission is to help 1 million moms start investing on their own by the year 2025. So if you are a mom and or if you know of other moms who could benefit from taking control of their financial future, please spread the word and help us make this huge impact. The best place to start is learn.investdiva.com/yes. We are going to cue in the intro, and let's go say hi to Brian Tracy and CHRISTINA STEIN. Welcome, CHRISTINA and Brian. I don't know if I should call you Mr. Tracy and Dr. Stein or CHRISTINA. We've been talking about this, but thank you for letting me call you by your first name. And thank you so much for being on the show.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
It's a great pleasure. We've done this a little bit in the past, and we just love to be able to help you and help your listeners and your viewers. So let her roll.
Yes, I mean, we are all like huge fans. Obviously, I have the latest copy of the book that CHRISTINA and Brian co-authored. And it's just such an awesome book, an awesome reminder of how to lead through your life, because there are these mind blocks, which is very interesting that people have. And so to be honest with you, yesterday I posted a TikTok video because I knew that I'm going to have you guys on my show. I kind of borrowed from the idea that, Brian, you say about why most people don't become wealthy. And the first reason you say is that it doesn't occur to them that they can become wealthy. They don't believe they can become wealthy, and then they just don't decide to become wealthy. So I talked about this on my TikTok video. And of course, an army of commentators started attacking. It was like, no, believing is not, like this is wishful thinking and capitalism, and you have to be born into wealth in order to become wealthy, and all these sort of things. So before we get into the topic of the book and why believing actually works, what would you say to such comments that believing doesn't even work?
Well, many years ago, when CHRISTINA was very young, I put together a seminar on personal success, and I called it the Phoenix Seminar. And the phoenix was the bird that rose out of the flames in ancient Egypt and lived for another 1,000 years. And so my whole seminar was how you could rise out of your past and create a future life. And one of the things that I discovered very early was what I call the law of belief. And the law of belief says that whatever you believe with intensity, with conviction, becomes your reality. And it's so powerful that it is the fundamental principle going through all of human history, is that if you believe it, you do achieve it. You become that person. And so therefore, what do you have to do? Well, first of all, you have to let go of self-limiting beliefs. And self-limiting beliefs are beliefs that you have that have come from somewhere that are holding you back, but they have no reality. So therefore, if you are brought up in a poor home and your family talks about poverty, the two things they talk about is that they were born into the situation, they can't change it. And the other thing, which is a killer, is they talk about how bad successful people are, is they're constantly downgrading successful people. And they talk about how their boss is a rich bastard and he takes his family to these places. And they talk about how wealthy people, they all stole the money anywhere and so on. And so you grow up at an age where you are very susceptible to the influence of your parents. You grow up at an unconscious level believing that financial success is really bad. It's a bad thing. Only bad people are financially successful. And I don't want to be a bad person, as I don't want to be disapproved of by others. I want people to like me and accept me and so on. So you develop this sort of almost programming, this unconscious process that I'm not financially successful and I never will be. And as a result, I'm superior to people who are financially successful. And you just kind of accept that and you develop this attitude of superiority and you criticize. And the worst thing that you can do, it's so awful. If you criticize successful people, what you do is you drive criticism out of your life. Everybody's heard about the law of attraction. And the law of attraction says that whatever you believe with intensity, you attract into your life. That each human being is a living magnet. And with their thoughts, they actually attract into their life the people and circumstances and ideas and opportunities in harmony with their dominant thoughts. So if you read, listen, learn, associate with positive and successful people, you start to think like they think. My friend Tony Robbins says that your income is the average income of the 5 people that you associate with most of the time. Why? It's because these people you talk and you share ideas and you share experiences and you talk about what's going on. And this is sort of like 5 people programming your subconscious computer. You start to think and feel and act the way they do. And if you want to change your life, you have to change your belief structure. You have to start thinking differently. And that's why your program is so helpful, is you share positive ideas with people and they start to think. When I say in my seminars that you have more potential than you could use in 100 lifetimes, it's a real shock because most people have never heard that before. And second of all, most people want to believe that that's true. And then third of all, most people don't believe it's true for them. So what we do with our children, and Christina is my oldest daughter, is from the time that she was young, we just continually told her how good she is and how smart and how attractive and how creative, and we constantly fed her this unbroken. We never criticized Christina or never told her anything negative about herself. And the same with her brothers and sisters. And so they have grown up never being criticized. And destructive criticism is the emotional cancer that destroys people. So people are criticized by their parents, and then as a result, they believe it. They have no barriers to defend themselves. So they believe, well, if my parents, who are the biggest, most important people in their world, if they say this to me about me, it must be true. And so that's why we come up with this book, Believe It to Achieve It. If you want to change anything on the outside, change your beliefs. And the way you change your beliefs is you set different goals and you read different books and you listen to this program and then you practice what you've learned. And then you start to fantasize and visualize yourself as being successful and happy. And that starts to become your new worldview. That starts to become your new reality. And this is what happens with probably 90% of people start off with little or nothing, and by reprogramming themselves, changing their beliefs, they create a wonderful life for themselves.
So basically what you're saying is that even if you come from a family that did criticize you, did tell you things that make you doubt yourself, you can still change it when you become aware of the power of believing.
Yes.
So actually, I do have another question as well. So Brian, you said that you never criticize Christina. So that's very interesting for me as a new mom. And my husband and I are trying to navigate, right? Like, are we spoiling her? Are we telling her too much? Are we confirming her too much? Is she going to get spoiled? And obviously, Christina is not spoiled. She's super incredibly successful. So I think this could be a question for Christina. Like, how would you handle spoiling a child and giving them positive affirmation? Like, is there any correlation at all?
So where did the idea, I'll give this right, but where did the idea of, quote, spoiling children come from? That's a nonsense idea. Some parent or grandparent said that if you are really, really nice to your children, you'll, quote, spoil them. And, we don't want to spoil our children. We want to be good parents. So therefore, we're not going to spoil our children. We're going to cut them down and keep them close to the ground and blah, blah, blah. Christina, go ahead.
Well, so my response to that, because I also am raising 3 children right now, is that I think that it's incredibly important to validate and affirm your children. And I think being specific for what you're proud about, or, affirming actions that they're taking or aspects of their character that you appreciate, gives it more value and more worth. And so it's not an inflated, oh, you're the greatest, but it's, you're incredible because of this. And I love how much effort you put into that, and really defining the aspects of your kids as to what you appreciate and what is so great about them.
Right. So that kind of takes away from, oh my God, I must be awesome. It's just, it brings the attention to the thing, not them. And
yeah, I mean, it personalizes it to your child, right? So your child is great because, so that they know why they're great, whether it's about their kindness to their friends, or the affection they show, or the appreciation they show, or the determination and the grit that they demonstrate in working hard on something. So you're really affirming something specific about your child, which then makes them even more confident and proud of themselves.
And your word is specific. That's really important. When Christina, remember, she came home from school and she had done artwork in school, and she would come home with a painting, and we would always make a big fuss. We say, geez, who did this? Oh, she said, I did it. No, that's not possible. That is just too good. You're too young to have done something like that. She said, no, I did. Did your teacher help you? No, I did it by myself. You did it by yourself. Barbara, come here. You're not going to believe this. Look at this. Look at this painting. And we looked at the painting, like, geez, this is amazing. And we put up on the refrigerator, and if somebody came into the house, we'd say, I want to show you something. You're not going to believe this, but Christina did this herself. And we just make a big fuss about it. And Christina would just beam. She was just.
Whereas right now she's kind of embarrassed, I can tell.
But then Christina now has 3 beautiful children. They are really amazing children. And she does the same thing with them. And they beam. And they're happy. And it makes them feel valuable and confident. And it makes them feel, geez, I can do other stuff. I can do more. There's never, that Western song, never is heard a discouraging word. That's just so wonderful for young people.
That is amazing. But again, so I want to bring the attention back to the book, though, that I love this part of the book. I think it's chapter 3, is letting go of the past. So I feel like, even though, of course, if you're parents watching this today, I'm taking notes. You should be taking notes as well. But one thing to do for yourself is, first of all, go grab this book. And second, in chapter 3 is, like, I'm reading the words that you guys have written, is that just stop blaming your parents for your reality today, because there are things that you can do to change that. And we know a lot of people who came from nothing, who did not have good parents, who were even orphans and have done great things, is probably because they understand the secret of believing and changing so that they can achieve the things that they really, really want. You guys, thank you so much for joining us today. And I know that we're gonna hang out again in the next episode of the Invest Diva movement, and we're gonna focus more on money and sex and talking about money in relationship and all the good stuff. So you guys, in the comments, I know that this could become a battlefield again in the comments area because of everything that Brian just said, and people are gonna take sides and like, no, you're spoiling your kids, and they're gonna be, no, you don't understand what you're talking about. So we're gonna have that. I'm looking forward to reading it. Please be nice. And if you like this video, please share it with your friends and any other parent who could benefit from making a difference in their children's lives. I'll see you in the next video. I'm gonna ask you to do something. This is our tradition in the Invest Diva movement. I ask my guests to make a silly face.
Okay.
On the count of 3, and you guys are gonna do it together. This is gonna be the first one I've had. Are you ready?
Sure.
3, 2, 1. It's kind of similar. I love it. Thank you guys.